will protest with Blackburn fans shoulder to shoulder before the FA Cup fourth round match this weekend at Ewood Park. And some of these fans say they'll stand outside the ground while the game is played inside. It's got that bad. Can you believe that? But it actually has. Now, as far as Blackpool are concerned, the fallout between the owner, Karl Oyston, and some of the fans has really got nasty. It's very much got personal. And in some cases, it got legal. But Oyston still refuses to sell the club. So stand by then. Just before we came on air, I got some airtime and we recorded this chat with Karl Oyston this morning. Stand by for a talkSPORT exclusive. This is Karl Oyston speaking to me just a short time ago. Karl, thanks for joining us. Can I start by asking you, is it not a sad fact that a great cup tie such as this is making the news because of fans' anger and opposition against the owners, i.e. in Blackpool against you, regarding Blackburn against the Venkies?
It's very sad in answer to the question, and it's not a state of affairs that any club owner, director, chairman or supporter would by choice want to be part of. I think, however sad it is, and however we analyse the reasons and the issues behind what's caused some fans, and we've had strong sales. I think we're taking 1,300 supporters across to Blackburn, which probably isn't too bad for a League Two club. It's a good proportion of our season ticket base and a lot of others.
But Karl, that's because they're supporting the club. They're not supporting you. That's by no means any demonstration of support for you.
Well, I don't think when any supporter puts their team top on anywhere in the country, they're going to support the club's owners or directors. I think that's probably very much a mistaken view. I think they're going to support the team, the players, the manager, and support their club.
But Karl, when we get down to it though, Karl, why do so many fans have a strong dislike of you? Why do they want you out?
Me particularly, I think I've taken plenty of wrong turns. I'll be the first to admit that. I've been there 20 years. We've had good times, and more recently we've had bad times. I think it's very much in vogue for some people, and let's not over-egg the pudding. There's not that many of them. There's normally a handful, half a dozen or so, that are outside our ground on match days waving a banner around. It's and really, they're people that have no alternatives whatsoever, nothing to offer, just want to criticise, deride and abuse the proper fans who are coming into the ground.
But Karl, you say that. You say there's just a handful. It's my understanding when your number went public, which was wrong, but when your contact number went public, you took something in the region of 3,000 abusive calls.
Oh, yeah, but from a very small number of people. Probably the same 15 to 20 people.
But they're not going to go away, are they?
Well, I'm sure they'll get bored in time. The numbers are dwindling, the interest dwindling. They're a busted flush. They've got nothing to offer, no alternative. And you can only go on for so long saying the same, trotting out the same tired rhetoric before people get fed up of it.
But they would say that of you. So why are you still there?
Well, the difference is we own the club. We run the club. The family's run it for 30 years, and the difference is, I think they rather naively, or in some sort of childlike way, seem to think that we should just be driven away or just walk away and leave the club in some sort of limbo. Well, clearly, that's not sustainable. It's not something that anyone who runs or owns a business would do, and it's naive.
But would you consider selling? Have you been close to selling?
We've had, in the public realm, there's been odd offers or approaches over the years. The board, for whatever reason, some years ago, the minority shareholders turned down an approach that came in, but that's some years ago, and we've had nothing since. We had one, I would say, quite laughable approach from a group of supporters that effectively detailed that we gave them the club, we gave them all the club's assets, and we gave them all the cash. They provided no information whatsoever on how they would run things, how they would approach things, who was behind them, what funding. Well, they weren't putting one penny in of their own money. So it was with the greatest, trying to treat them seriously with some level of respect, it was difficult not to deride it.
Well, as I understand, the German, Eden Rahic, looked at Blackpool but opted to buy Bradford. So that didn't happen. What would be the price that you would say yes to?
Well, the consortium that you're talking about, they looked at 3 or 4 clubs. When they were discussing a deal with us, we put it to the board. I put it to the board because I put everything like that to the board. That's part of my role as chairman to make sure these things are serious. Put them to the board, explain to the board what the details are, and the board, the minority shareholders of the board, dismissed it out of hand. So it was our dismissal rather than them going to Bradford. But frankly, Bradford's probably got more prospect of high levels of support than we had. I mean, we've got very good support, very good core support, great, committed, loyal supporters that don't deserve abusing by a sprinkling of fans as they come into the ground every week. And
but again, Karl, what's the magic figure, Karl? What is the magic figure that you would say yes to selling?
Listen, this is one of those conversations that could go around in circles for hours. Unless there's an offer, unless there's an interested party, it really isn't. There's no point whatsoever in discussing it.
Do you not get sick of it all, though, Karl? I mean, be honest with me. You don't need this, presumably, in your life. Abusive phone calls. You've had death threats, haven't you?
Oh, plenty of death threats, yeah. Always the cowardly ones from behind a computer keyboard or the other side of a fence or a barrier or the end of a phone line. So these really are the lower echelons of society that we're talking about that behave this way.
Yeah, but you've ended up in hot water as well for verbally insulting some of your own fans.
No.
You've been previously charged by the FA for misconduct. This has got to end, hasn't it? But it's got to end, Karl.
With threats and abuse to your family, you're only human, and you do react, and you react inappropriately. And I reacted inappropriately, for which I will forever regret. I've apologised, and I've tried to make things right. That won't ever happen again. I'll never react inappropriately again. And I think I've definitely learnt my lesson. But going back to the point you make about do we need it, it's not an issue. There's even at its peak a couple of years ago, it was just very ill-advised and mostly cowardly people making horrific threats against women and children and the elderly. You really can't allow in society or football that type of thing to succeed.
They say the Oyston family, the net worth of the Oyston family is about £100 million. Would that be right?
Listen, I'm not going to dignify with any response.
So in other words, you don't need the money. So why do you still need the club?
I don't think those 2 points are linked in any way, shape, or form. My family has owned the club for 30 years or so. My father's a manic Blackpool fan. Always has been. Always will be. It really affects him. Adverse results, and he suffers when the club's not doing very well. We'll never sell, and in the unlikely event someone comes along with an offer, then we'll make it public. You know, that's as fair as we can be, because at the moment this dwindling group are championing some cause that isn't there. So
you're saying you'll never sell? You're just trying to grind it out?
I don't think it's grind. I think that the club has it's had various. It's evolved from when I took over 20 years ago, from when my father took over 10 years before that, and my mother was at the helm for a while, and the club's evolved over those years to what it is now, which is a completely different animal than the one I took over certainly 20 years ago, and it's got a good and loyal and committed support base for, as we've discussed, the team and the players. So there's nothing to walk away from. I don't quite get this link that people are trying to form that owners of a football club that have been committed and loyal to the club and developed it and taken it forward should just walk away. That's clearly an unsustainable and very naive approach.
But Karl, just finally and briefly, surely there's a time when you know, well, that should be it. You can't improve on anything. It's eventually, you say they're a busted flush. They don't want you. I mean, peace somehow has got to break out, hasn't it?
I think peace has. Well, no, sorry, I don't think. I know that peace has broken out. The people that want to come in the ground and support the team are coming in the ground and supporting the team and following the team when they play away. The ones that don't, and it's a small number, don't, and frankly, they've backed themselves into such a corner that they probably never could save face if they did come back, which is really, really unfortunate for them, and I do pity them. But we've got to move forward. And when I took over 20 years ago, we were in a similar position on the field, and people said the same then. Look what's happened in the intervening period. We've changed division, I think, 7 times in my time in control. We've redeveloped the stadium. We've been in the Premier League. Who would ever have thought that? So no, I disagree. We've done it before. We've built from a low support base before, and through very good, sustainable community building ways of giving free tickets to young children in the town, and we've built before, we'll build again.
So that was Karl Oyston a short time ago. We've built before, we'll build again. He will never sell. Fans' protests like the one tomorrow are a busted flush in his view, and also in his view there is nothing to walk away from.